Well. Look who's back at the top of the food chain again if it's not Christmas Ogre. Christmas Ogre just has everything lined up for CCM, starting with the U equals MA square being a good spot, making it very easy for her to build for next CM. Aside from that, I'll discuss the strats and information you need to build good Christmas Ogre and Umas that can beat Christmas Ogre. This will be sort of a quick guide since it's going to be last minute guide as this EM is approaching literally in roughly 3 days and I was a bit busy with stuff and couldn't make the guide itself. Okay, starting with the race course for this EM, it's the OE third 2000 meter track with the condition of right-handed, fall, sunny, and good. The speed bonus for each track is stamina, so ideally if you want to get the max value out of it, it's going to be 901 stamina, but it's quite hard with the Grand Life scenario, so you definitely need to run Stamina Spark and a stamina card on top of it. This track is very unique because it has no uphill or downhill. So, this eliminates any downhill mechanic that makes you conserve more stamina than other race tracks. One more thing as well, since there is no uphill, Frontrunner loses access to one of its gold recovery skill, that is the Restless Gold skill. This also kinda makes Summer Marisensky hard to build for next EM as the Restless Gold skill becomes unfiable. And now, it brings us to the huge problem of stamina requirements and the rise of the buffers for the next CM, which I will explain further later on in the stats requirement. For the acceleration skills, the only acceleration skill that works for the next CM is the corner acceleration skill, that is angling and skimming for front runners, moving past and beyond and let's pump some iron for late surgers and closer. Space Chaser doesn't have any access to acceleration skill since Budding Blossom and Shooting for Victory literally doesn't work. So the plan for them is to inherit angling and skimming instead and try to get to first position or just win the lucky pace since it's very hard to build front runner and no one will be running fronts. Yes, as it's very harder to build than just building a Christmas Ogre. Obviously, all the gambling exertion skill as per usual are nice to have. These are non-stop growth for every stall, head on for Pace Chaser, and on your left for late surgers. Okay, let's talk about stamina requirements or the stam requirement, which is the most important part of this champion meeting. To be really honest, the stamina required to run the whole race is roughly about 800-ish stamina. However, the problem comes from the stamina debuffers out there that brings the mystifying murmurs. And assuming a debuffer brings a package of mystifying murmur and the subdued stamina debuff skill, it is roughly 5% of stamina per debuffing Uma. Now, if we assume the opponent are all running murmurs, that is 4 stamina debuffers in total, this will be 20% of stamina debuff. A gold recovery is worth about 5.5% of stamina, so you can see how bad the condition is, and it's very easy for your Uma to get stamina checked. If your Uma name is not Christmas Ogre, then prepare to get a lot of stamina. Ideally, you want about 901 stamina plus 2 gold recovery. This will let you tank like 3 very well built debuffers, taking into account some filled with checks as well for the Mystifying Murmur and all that. It will give you a very high chance of surviving and actually winning the race. 901 stamina is specifically for the speed bonus of the track as well, so that's what we're aiming for here. With the insane requirement for stamina and gold recovery, the decks will also suffer. For fronts, since there's no uphill, the Restless Gold skill doesn't work, and so you cannot run the Maya speed car here for it. This becomes a problem since frontrunner doesn't have access to many gold recovery skill, and you basically just need to overstam your Uma with Super Krieg and Swinging Maestro. The deck format can look something like this. Obviously, you need to run Stamina Spark here to overstam your Uma. For the other styles, you are just changing the speed card and width card accordingly to your style. For late surger, you can run Seno Rockroy for lie in with gold skill and nice nature width for on your left acceleration skill. And for Encloser, you can run Mr. CB width for daring strike. However, the format for the decks will be 2 speed, 1 stamina, 2 width, plus a light halo, and that stamina card is definitely super quick for its stamina and swinging maestro gold recovery skill. This is in order to survive the stamina bloodbath, that is, unless you run a Christmas Ogre. Christmas Ogre basically just solves half the problem, since you will be running 3 recovery and her unique also gives you Bex recovery for the stamina, and some of the deck variants open up to the 3 speed, 2 wit, and 1 light halo, and you can kinda ignore pretty much everything. But even with this, if you meet with the 4 debuffer lobbies, If you understand your Ogre by a bit, your Ogre can still get deleted, so if you want to be safe, you need to still run a Super Quake in the deck. Let's get into the meta talk. Since this CM is very harsh on the stamina requirement and Grand Life being a scenario that doesn't give a lot of stamina, the rise of the buffers is once again very strong in the meta. The new Summer Gold Chip 564 enabling the debuffers doesn't really help with this. The meta strongest com is literally just Christmas Ogre plus 2 debuffers. This is because Christmas Ogre can tank the stamina debuffers with her recovery and unique and just win the game. Ogre also has Agnes Tachyon Inherit lined up for this track and will act as an insurance for your unique if you hit position 3 or 4 before the late race. It's a guaranteed crit activation for Festive Miracle. If you want to build Ogre, you can go for something like 800 stamina, plus 1 gold recovery and 2 word recovery. Lastly, the Agnes Tachyon Inherit. The recovery that you should go for are the innate skills that is Gorman, 777, U equals AMA square, and what recovery skill that you can get from the hints like straightaway recovery or corner recovery. This should let you tank like 2 full build Murmurs debuffer. However, if the opponent both runs stamina debuffers and you get hit with all the gold 4 Murmurs, your Ogre will still die. And so comes the problem of if you want to heavily overstam your Ogre or not. And the solution for this is, well, we already know it by this point, which is bringing Super Krieg for the Swinging Maestro. Personally, it's up to you if you want to overstam or not, or just gamble your opponent matchup. But words coming from the street that there is a lot of people running stamina debuffers, so you might want to reconsider and overstam a bit. If you want to run fronts, the strong options are Kopanoriki and Smart Pocket. Kopanoriki is very strong and it's definitely stronger than Smart Falcon, but she is very tedious to build, since you want 6 green skills on her to make the most out of her unique skill. There's also the late surger Kopanoriki variant, where you have more access to gold recovery skill compared to the front version, since I already mentioned before, Restless doesn't work, but Lie in Wait from the Sonorophoric speed card can work for the late variant version. One other third late surger that is always good is Agnes Digital. Agnes Digital is always your average performer. This is because she's super simple to build as her aptitude lines with everything and have access to good unique and gold skills. For end closers, you can go for Inari1 as she have access to Master of the Sand gold skill, which is a very good gold recovery skill that gives you speed on top of it for the third distance. Alright, the next question a lot of people will have is how to build the debuffers. First of all, I will present to you the deck format. We will use this deck because Gold City will give you the Keen Eye Gold skill, Same Sky will give you the Hesitant Pace Speed debuff, and Late Hesitant Speed debuff from the event chains. Marvelous Sunday is here for the front and pace hesitant debuff skill. Aoi Kiryuin is here for the end closer guaranteed hint, and Symboli Rudolph is simply here because she is the most OP debuffer card for stamina. She literally gives you all stamina debuff skills in the world. The last slot is free, and it's up to you to double up on which hints that you feel are lacking, either the speed hesitant debuff skills or stamina debuff skills hints on any card that you prefer, and you want to prune easier. Obviously, you want to run this deck in the Unity Cup because the new bombs gives you skill hints now of the card that you are running, and it's easier to accumulate the debuff skill this way. For the parents, you would want Summer Gold Chip to inherit the 564. Do not forget to bring the third aptitude from G to D or C at least. This is to make sure they last into the late race to actually proc their debuff skill. Otherwise, it will be too late for them to reach the activation point of their debuff skills, and sometimes it will be pretty meaningless even if you brought a debuffer. Lastly, we're going into the team composition for the CM. There is only 2 team composition in the CM. The first one is 2 fronts plus a Dominator debuffer. This will be Kopanoriki, Smart Falcon, and a Dominator debuffer. The whole goal here is just to run faster than the Christmas Ogre. If the Ogre catches you, it's Jover. The other one is 1/8 plus 2 debuffers. The debuffers here may vary, that is the 2 Dominator debuffers or the 2 Stamina debuffers or a mix of a Dominator debuffer and a Stamina debuffer. There's a little bit of debate if it's better to go for Stamina debuffers or Speed debuffers or half-half with Stamina and Speed debuffers. But From what I've seen, it is definitely better to go for stamina debuffers on round 1 to easily stamina check the weaker Umas. But once you get to round 2 and face better opponent and Umas, there will be very well built Christmas Ogre, and stamina checking them sometimes doesn't work. This way, you should go for the speed debuffers on the second round. However, if you are pretty lazy to build, then you can always go for the speed debuffers. It is always the safest option as you just need to run faster than the opponent. Anyways, that's it for the Virgo Cup. It's a pretty short guide and sorry for releasing it so close to the actual CM. I hope it still helps. Hopefully, I can release the next CM guide sooner. If you have any question, of course, you can join my Discord server, link in the description down below. And as always, Doriel here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.